Hello everybody, today I'm doing a video on the best northern Arizona towns to buy horse property. And if you've ever been looking to buy a home up in northern Arizona and you have a horse, you're going to want to stay tuned to this because not all areas allow horses and some places will cost you a lot more to buy a horse property than others. So stay tuned, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about buying horse property in northern Arizona. Channel is Living in Northern Arizona, where I'll teach you everything I know about living in the northern half of the state of Arizona. My name's Dawn Dickinson. I am a licensed realtor and I sell real estate here in the northern half of the state, particularly Sedona, Verde Valley, Flagstaff, and the Prescott area. So if you ever have a question about real estate or you want me to help you find a home to purchase, just reach out to me. I love it when that happens. My contact information is always in the description below. Or you could go in the description below and find the link to my website where you could schedule a 30-minute Zoom call or phone call, and I'll tell you everything, give you a brain dump of what I know about northern Arizona real estate. So stay tuned. If you've ever wanted to buy a house or a land that will allow horses, I'm going to tell you all about that. Okay, so I am basing the information on this video on a few things. One, of course, is my own personal opinion on what towns that I know have horses and which ones I like. Places that I have lived before in the past that have horse privileges and horses in the neighborhood. But most of the information I've taken directly from the MLS systems, and I've just downloaded some data on the homes that are currently for sale or pending or recently sold in each one of the northern Arizona towns that I work in. Now, I have taken these facts, these data, from primarily three MLS systems: the Northern Arizona Association of Realtors, which is going to have most of the data from Flagstaff, Williams Parks, Mormon Lake; also Sedona Verde Valley Association of Realtors, where I'm going to show you all of the Verde Valley towns, and of course Sedona; and finally the Prescott Area Association of Realtors, where I'll talk about Prescott, Prescott Valley, Chino Valley, Dewey, Hummel, on those towns. Now, I do subscribe to the Phoenix Area Association of Realtors, and I do know quite a bit about horse property in Phoenix area, basically because I grew up in a community in Gilbert that allowed horses, so I am familiar with homes in Gilbert or Chandler that allow horses. And if you were interested in moving down to Gilbert or Chandler, I could talk to you about that as well. But first I'm going to start with Flagstaff. Now, Flagstaff is a good area to buy horse property. Now, you know, it's higher elevation, colder climate. It's 7,000 foot. It's a mountain town, so just be aware of that. There are a couple of communities in Flagstaff that have horse privileges. One is there's an equestrian estates, which is kind of in the lower part of Flagstaff towards Flagstaff Ranch. Beautiful homes in there, but the bulk of homes that allow horses is going to be in the Doney Park area and some just north of town, like along the 89 as you're leaving Flagstaff. Those areas probably have the most horse property for sale. And right now I'm seeing the very lowest price property in Flagstaff is one out in Loop Road. It's funny, I showed this house back in 2019. It's a manufactured home. It's going right now for $200,000. I think it's already under contract, but it's way out of town. Let me show you a picture of the area that it's in. It's way, way out of town. I'm going to throw up a map now and then so you can see where the horse properties for sale are located, but this one on Loop is way out there. It's a manufactured home. It's been remodeled. I showed it in 2019 when it was selling for like $80,000, and now it's under contract for $200,000, but they did do a lot of renovation to that one. But that's way outlier. You're not going to find horse property for $200,000 unless it's way, way out of town in Flagstaff. So right now, the bulk of the homes in Flagstaff that offer horse privileges are going to be for $500,000. Now, $500,000 is either going to be an older, smaller home or manufactured home, and the highest right now is about $2.5 million. The one for $2.5 million is, of course, absolutely gorgeous on acreage, but you can just budget that. If you're thinking of Flagstaff might be a good place, that would be the price range you're going to look at, probably pushing $1 million all the way to $2.5. And of course, there are homes that will go for higher than that, but that's what's active or pending or recently closed in Flagstaff area. Now, I know in Mormon Lake right now, there's a home for $1.2 $1.1 million for sale that allows horses. It's on acreage, I think it's 5 acres. It is in the subdivision where I once owned a cabin at Mormon Lake. So I know it's a beautiful area. The house is a little bit down towards the meadowy part, overlooking the lake and the San Francisco peaks. It's just a beautiful property. If you're curious about that one, certainly contact me and I can send you the MLS listing and I can tell you about that. And of course, I would love to show that to you. I haven't been back there in a while, but I did own a property in that exact subdivision at Mormon Lake. It would be a good one to check out. The other bulk of homes are going to be in Williams, Parks actually could be a good place for horse property, and all the way out to Ash Fork. Now just know the homes that I'm seeing in Williams are way far out of town, not super close. So in Williams, I am seeing properties that are listed between $250,000 and about $500,000, but just realize that those are way out of town. There may not be water available. You'll probably be on a water haul system, which makes it more difficult if you've got horses. It's not going to be in the tall Ponderosa Pine area. There may be some like that in Parks, but just realize in Williams, you're going to be a little bit farther out of town. You're going to have, some of those are going to be manufactured homes, and you might have a little bit problem with water. Not a problem so much, but you're going to have a water haul system where you're probably going to want delivery, and that could be an issue if you've got horses. But again, the big northern Arizona towns, Flagstaff's got some beautiful horse property. Mormon Lake has that one right now for sale for $1.1 million, and then Williams, Ash Fork, and Parks. Now Ash Fork is way out there, and the ones I'm seeing in Williams again are way far out of town, but those are your choices if you're looking in northern Arizona. Okay, so next I'm going to talk about Verde Valley, homes for sale in Verde Valley, where you can have horses. Camp Verde probably has the largest number of properties that have acreage where you could put horses on. I saw quite a few there, starting at about $200,000 for a home on an acre. Now realize that at $200,000 it's probably going to be a single wide mobile home, which is very difficult to get financing for. Now I'm not going to say you can't get financing for, but traditional VA, FHA, conventional is not going to loan on a single wide. However, I do have lenders that will loan on those. If you're interested in finding out more, I can send you a list. Now realize the lenders that do loan on a single wide is probably going to charge you 1, 2, maybe 3 percentage points higher than your traditional lender will, so it's going to make a big difference in your monthly payment. But again, starting at about $200,000, you could get a place in Camp Verde. Going all the way to the $700,000-800,000, you might be able to get a 2-acre home that will allow horses. That's a thing to worry about in Camp Verde. I don't know if I want to say worry about, but just to be concerned about is some of them might be on a water hole or a well, and you could have homes in a flood zone in Camp Verde. But that is a popular area for people who have horses, is Camp Verde. Clarkdale had a couple of pieces of property, maybe 3, ranging from $850,000 to $1.1 million. Cornville had quite a few homes that allow horses on them. The cheapest I saw was $275,000. Again, that was a manufactured home. The most expensive in Cornville was $1.3 million. It was a beauty on about 12 acres. So Cornville is a good possibility if you have a horse. Cottonwood, quite a few homes in Cottonwood, but again, they were pricey. $750,000 was the cheapest Cottonwood home I saw that had acreage and allowed horses, and they went all the way to $1.7 million in that place. That was a beauty. So Cottonwood is a good choice. And then Rimrock, I've sold homes in Rimrock that allow horses. Right now there are a couple of them for $200,000 that will allow you to have a horse, but they're on a single wide mobile home. Again, you have the same issue, harder to get financing for. And all the way up to $1.2 million, there's a beautiful 4-acre parcel in Rimrock right now where you could have horses, and that one's really nice. If you want to know about that one, of course, let me know. Now, a question I do get some of the time is, can you buy horse property in Sedona? And the answer is yes. There are maybe 4 areas that they're popular. The Red Rock Loop. There are some homes in there that are on acreage that you could have horses on. In the Village of Oak Creek, like as you're driving into Sedona, before you get to the Hilton, there are on each side houses that have horse privileges. In fact, I've shown several of them. There was one on the east side that I showed about 3 or 4 years ago, 10 acres. 3 or 4 years ago, it was selling for $850,000. When I showed it now, it's probably $2 million. Same thing on the other side. Now, if you're in Village of Oak Creek and you go way out on Jack's Canyon, there are quite a few places out there that allow horses. And then in West Sedona also, there are a couple of places kind of like out by Dry Creek Road, and I think I mentioned Red Rock Loop. The very cheapest home in Sedona right now is out on the Red Rock Loop, a little bit far out there, for $650,000. It's a very small home built in the 80s. It looks like 1984 inside, but for $650,000 to get a home in Sedona that allows horses, that's really a great price. It probably won't last very long. And the most expensive one in Sedona right now is $13 million. So that, of course, is a beauty. It's about 6,300 square foot, the house, which would be the main house and a guest house, and it's on 35 acres. So again, in Sedona, you can find horse property, but you're probably going to pay. And the $13 million house is beautiful. There are a couple of them in the $6-7 million ranges in Sedona, and you can find stuff under $1 million, like I just said, the $650,000 house in the Red Rock Loop. But it's a small house. It looks very dated inside. It's on a small piece of property, but hey, you're in Sedona, so that might be something worth thinking about if you're looking for horse property. Okay, and lastly, I'm going to move to the Prescott Valley, Dewey Humboldt, Chino Valley area, all from the Prescott Area Association of Realtors. And this area has by far the largest number of homes for sale that allow horses. So I'm going to start with Dewey Humboldt. There were homes in there ranging for the low 500,000s all the way to 1.7 million where you could have horses. Prescott, again, same thing, about the mid 400,000s all the way to 6.7 million. And the $6.7 million house, man, that was a beauty. Had over 200 acres and 4,300 square foot building, and of course beautiful barns and all that to go along with it. So that Prescott area house for around 7 million, I could give you more information on that if you're interested. In Prescott Valley, also quite a few, starting from the low 400s all the way to 1.2 million. The $1.2 million house is on 12 acres, about 2,100 square feet, so very nice choice there. Now I'm going to see in Chino Valley, there were so many homes for sale that allow horses that I didn't really pick the numbers because the list was very long. Chino Valley, some of the other areas like Paulden, way out in Kirkland. Again, the rural towns way far out of town, a lot of them had possibilities for you to have horses, and they did have some reasonable options too. A lot of them were on manufactured homes, which is going to bring your price down. You might be able to get something for $200,000 on an acre where you could have a horse. Now realize if you're way out in Chino or Paulden or Kirkland, you might have a problem with utilities. You might be on a water haul system that makes your home less valuable, but if it's something that doesn't bother you, you might want to look into that. So those are the top northern Arizona towns where you could buy a home where you could keep your horse. Now, I was saying at the beginning, I know of places in Chandler and Gilbert, which is down in the valley, where you can have a horse, because I grew up in a neighborhood with a horse, which is odd because my dad would never let me have a horse. But we lived on an acre from the time I was about 5th grade all the way from when I, moved out of the house. So, and then also my adult son lives with his dad in a place in Chandler that currently has horses right now. So I am familiar with the neighborhoods down there. If you were interested in knowing more about Phoenix area, I could send you a list too. And I have agents that work that area that we refer clients back and forth to, so I could get you in touch with somebody if you're looking down there. And I'm not going to tell you anything about Tucson because I don't know about Tucson, but I hope this helps. I hope if you're looking for a horse property or a place where you can bring your best friend, good luck finding that. And I would be happy to talk to you about that. If you have any questions, give me a call, text, email. My contact information is always in the description below. Channel is Living in Northern Arizona. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. I post videos just like this every single week, so if you like the video, I hope you come back next week, and see you again. Have a great week.